After my niece Sarah's parents passed away, she cut me out of her life completely, ignoring every call, message, and letter. Then, years later, she messaged me out of the blue, saying, "I need the family estate transferred to my name." When I said no, she showed up at my door with a lawyer, but what I gave her instead left her shocked. A few years ago, Sarah stopped talking to me without any explanation. She was 21, not a teenager anymore, and I had raised her after her parents died. I had done everything I could for her, even though I wasn't rich. Then, without any reason, she just disappeared from my life. I spent 2 years trying to reach her, but it seemed like I'd never hear from her again. Then, I got her message: "I need the family estate transferred to my name." No apology, no greeting, just a demand. I knew exactly why she was reaching out. It was all about the estate. I wasn't going to ignore it. I told her to come by. The next day, she showed up at my door with a lawyer in a suit. I let them in. Sarah looked different, dressed in fancy clothes, her nails done, and her hair styled. She was no longer the girl I raised. "We don't need to talk," she said, "just sign this." The lawyer opened his briefcase and pulled out papers. He began speaking to me like I didn't know what was going on. "As you know, the estate was supposed to go to Sarah when she turned 18. We just need to finalize the transfer." But I wasn't going to let that slide. "That's not how it works," I said calmly. The lawyer smirked and said, "Actually, due to some issues when your brother passed, it's been in your name temporarily. Now that Sarah is 21, we want to finish the transfer." At that moment, Sarah finally looked at me, but it wasn't with love or regret, just cold expectation. I started, "My fiancé and I." She interrupted, "Fiancé? That's new." I just nodded and walked over to my desk. I pulled out some papers and set them in front of them. "Before we do anything, you should probably read these." Sarah grabbed the papers, and the lawyer leaned in to read too. Their expressions changed immediately. Sarah's confidence faded. I knew something had shifted. "What's this?" Sarah asked, her voice tense. "That's the updated will your father made right before he died," I said. She didn't believe it. "That's not possible." "Oh, but it is," I replied. "Your father and I talked when you were 16. He had concerns about you." The lawyer, now quieter, confirmed, "This will overrides the previous one." "Exactly," I said. "The estate stays in my name indefinitely, and it can only be transferred if you meet specific conditions." Sarah wasn't happy. "That's not fair." "It's legal," I said. The lawyer quickly closed his briefcase. "We'll be taking this to court." "Go ahead," I said, unbothered. She looked furious. "You had no right." "I had every right," I told her. As she stood there, angry, I handed her another page. She grabbed it, reading quickly, her face draining of color. She was shaking. "What is this?" she whispered. I didn't rush her to respond. I let her read it over and over. Finally, she looked up, realizing the truth. She stammered, "You tricked me." I laughed. "No, Sarah, I did what your father asked me to do. I honored his last wishes." Her hands clenched. "He would have told me." I stared at her. "If he didn't, it's because he didn't want you to know." The lawyer asked to see the documents, so I gave him copies. Sarah didn't say anything. She just stared at the paper, upset. Then she stormed out, the lawyer following her slowly. After that, things got ugly. She sent me a letter from her lawyer demanding the estate, claiming the will was invalid. I ignored it. Then the calls started, from her lawyer, from Sarah, and from unknown numbers. I blocked them all. Then, one morning, I found my front door wide open. Inside, my office had been ransacked. Someone had broken in, and I knew it was probably Sarah's doing. I called the police, but I didn't have any security cameras. The good news was, they didn't steal the original documents. They only took the copies. I had kept the real documents safe in a bank safe deposit box. I decided it was time to fight back. I went to my lawyer, Harold Pierce, who'd worked with my brother. "I need to make some changes," I told him. He knew exactly what was going on. We spent hours going through everything, and by the time I left his office, I had one surprise for Sarah, a restraining order. 3 days later, Harold called me. "She filed a lawsuit," he said, sounding frustrated. "On what grounds?" I asked. "She's claiming fraud, saying the will was forged." I was shocked. "Are you serious?" "Yes," he replied. "This could get serious, but Sarah made a big mistake. She underestimated me. She was coming for me, and I had one more document she didn't know about. a paper that proved just how deep her betrayal went. Once I turned it over to the court, it would ruin her. I wasn't going to wait for Sarah's next move. If she wanted to claim I forged the will, I'd make sure she regretted it. I had one final secret, a card even Harold, our estate lawyer, didn't know about. I made a call, and the man who answered was Douglas Grayson, the attorney who had helped my brother write his last will. Though he was retired now, I knew he remembered one important detail. My brother was very careful. After our parents died in a messy fight over their own estate, he promised to never leave anything unclear. When he updated his will, he had Douglas record the signing with 2 neutral witnesses. I had seen the video before. In it, my brother, weak but clear, looked right into the camera and said, "I am of sound mind. This is my will. No one is forcing me." Then he signed, the witnesses signed, and the lawyer notarized it, all captured on video. Sarah had no idea that proof existed, and now I was going to use it. The courtroom battle began quickly. Within weeks, we were in front of a judge. Sarah sat across from me in her expensive outfit, calm on the outside, but I could see the tension in her jaw and how she clutched her fiancé's hand. Her lawyer started, "Your Honor, we believe Mr. Whitaker forced the changes in the will. We think the document was altered or even forged." The judge asked me, "Mr. Whitaker, do you have proof to show otherwise?" I stood and adjusted my tie. "Yes, Your Honor, I have something that will end this case once and for all." I signaled Harold, who handed over a flash drive. The bailiff took it to the judge. "Please watch the file labeled Final." As the video played, Sarah stiffened and the courtroom grew silent. On the screen, my brother's tired but clear voice said, "I am of sound mind. This is my will. No one is forcing me." The video showed his signature, the witnesses signing, and the notarization. Sarah's lawyer looked shocked. The judge then asked Sarah, "Miss Whitaker, do you still want to claim forgery?" Sarah opened her mouth, then closed it. Her lawyer leaned in and whispered something, urging her to drop the claim. But Sarah wasn't done. She suddenly stood up and cried, "I was lied to." The courtroom buzzed. The judge asked, "By whom, Miss Whitaker?" Sarah pointed at me. "He manipulated my father into signing this." I sighed. "Sarah, the video speaks for itself." She snapped, "I don't care about the video. He always controlled everything. My father trusted him too much." Her lawyer tried to calm her, but she pushed away. "This isn't over," she hissed. The judge warned, "Miss Whitaker, please listen to your lawyer before saying anything that might hurt your case." But she was too angry, and that was her biggest mistake, her fatal move. The case should have ended then, but Sarah wasn't only after the estate, she wanted revenge. The next morning, my phone exploded with notifications. Sarah had gone public. She posted a long, emotional rant on social media, claiming I had stolen her inheritance and left her poor while I lived in luxury. She painted me as a greedy, controlling uncle who took everything from her. Her post went viral, thousands of comments, shares, and messages. People started calling me a monster, and I even received threats. Sarah wanted to ruin me, but she had given me the perfect chance to ruin her in return. I had evidence that proved something important. She wasn't poor at all. In fact, she lived in a multi-million-dollar penthouse in Miami, bought 6 months ago in her fiancé's name. Where did the money come from, you might ask? The answer was simple. She had already drained her parents' other bank accounts. Besides the estate, my brother had left additional savings, investments, and even a trust fund meant for Sarah's future. She wasn't supposed to access it until she turned 30, but she found a way to get it early. I had proof, bank records, withdrawal records, and a document with her fiancé's signature showing they moved the money into an offshore account. Sarah wasn't broke, she was a liar, and I had all the receipts. The final blow came when I let Sarah enjoy her moment of public sympathy. Then I released everything. I leaked all the documents, screenshots of bank transactions, trust fund withdrawals, and even a photo of her on the balcony of her Miami penthouse, holding a wine glass, taken from her fiancé's social media. The internet exploded. Supporters of Sarah began deleting their comments. Soon, people started calling her the thief. Memes spread overnight. But that wasn't the worst part for Sarah. The bank saw the leaks too, and they got involved. The trust fund had strict legal rules. Accessing it early was fraud. Now Sarah was not only losing public sympathy, she was also facing real legal trouble. When the bank stepped in, everything happened fast. Her accounts were frozen. Investigators started looking into her records. Her once smug lawyer dropped her as a client, and even her fiancé disappeared, as if he had never existed. The final confrontation came in person. I was at home when I heard urgent knocking at my door. It wasn't a soft knock, it was pounding, desperate. I knew who it was before I opened the door. There stood Sarah, a mess. Her expensive clothes were wrinkled, her hair was messy, her eyes were red from crying. She looked nothing like the confident, entitled girl who had come with a lawyer demanding her inheritance. Without waiting for my words, she pushed past me. "You ruined my life," she shouted. I closed the door and faced her. "No, Sarah, you ruined your own life." I raised my hand. "Don't act like a victim. You stole from your father's trust fund. You manipulated people. You left me behind as soon as you thought you didn't need me." She laughed bitterly. "So now it's about you? What about me? You have no idea what it was like." I snapped. "Do you know how it felt to be completely shut out by the girl I raised like a daughter? To be ignored for years until you only came back when you needed money? You made your choices, and now you must face the consequences." Tears filled her eyes. For the first time, I saw real fear, no anger, no entitlement, just fear. "Uncle, please," she whispered, "I have nothing left." I looked at her, jaw tight. In many stories, this might be a moment of forgiveness, where I'd take her back and fix everything, but real life isn't like that. You need to leave, Sarah. She blinked, confused. "What? You need to go?" I replied softly, "I can't fix this for you, I won't." She shook her head desperately. "You're all I have left." I stepped back. "I was all you had left, and you threw it away." Her face crumpled, and she staggered back as if I had hurt her. I swallowed hard. "Do I still care about you? Yes, but loving someone doesn't mean letting them destroy you." Sarah wiped her face angrily. "Fine, I don't need you anyway, then." She turned and stormed out. For the first time in years, I let her go, and I felt a strange relief. In the end, Sarah didn't go to jail. The bank wanted to avoid a long trial, so they made a deal. She had to pay every cent back by selling her car, her jewelry, her Miami penthouse, everything. She ended up broke and alone. After that, she tried to reach out with messages. This time, they were less demanding and more desperate. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Can we talk?" I didn't answer. Maybe one day, when she had truly changed and learned real responsibility, I might consider it, but not today. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please like, comment, and subscribe for more great stories. Don't forget to tap the notification bell, so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts in the comments, we love hearing from you. See you next time, and take care.